and welcome back to Shadows over Loathing. We've cleared up pretty much all there was to clear. And now we go to the Black House. The only thing of interest here, really. More shadow ballerinas. Yeah, sure, why not? And they haven't brought a nutcracker with them this time. Well, death shall befall you. Oh no, I dealt 1 damage to myself. How unfortunate. Die. So if I set 1 on fire 3 times, that will lead that they will take 21 fire damage on the start of their turn. Which means that they're dead. Then I can set this guy on fire once, not that it matters, and hit him with a fish. As you do. Well, I do. You've been hit with a fish. Actually. Ooh, more of that. Well, don't really have any more of that, but more need for it right now. Before we start heading in. Ooh, that looks interesting. Let's see. So we can have the effect of 1 potion and 1 food. Let's see what foods we can get that would sort of make a useful addition to. I could up my AP. That's probably not. Ooh, maximum HP. Iced corn. Something that gave me regenerative abilities would be very nice. I don't trust a swamp mushroom like that. Swamp honey, Mobius cookie, Polo Diavolo. Gives you 5 hit points. Okay. Is that really the best in terms of regeneration? I get that regeneration is powerful given that how low your amount of hit points are. That's kind of pointless. I want something that increases my combat abilities. Yes. You know? I mean, maximum hit points? Honestly, I think our best bet is probably actually to get 5 hit point regeneration, because that also counters things like fire, bleeding, and poison. Yes. Let's do that. Let's do that. Alright, well, we got the key. Both key and lock suddenly disintegrate, leaving the gate unsecured. You are too late. Oi! Well, that wasn't particular. What? Rain! Hello? Would you happen to be Rufus, but from the future? Oh, it's Uncle Murray! Right. Uncle Murray, are you okay? Surprisingly fine, kiddo. Not sure why they didn't just murder me, but I'm glad they didn't. Me too. We got to stop the president from doing whatever her crazy plan is. Darn right we do, but wait a minute, what's that? You got something behind your ear. 5 meat. Don't ever change, Uncle Murray. What happened to you? Well, Jessica told you how I've been hunting a series of cursed artifacts, right? Yeah, that's how I found you. We've been using the detectortron to find more of them, to try and follow your trail. So Charles got that thing working finally. That sure would have saved me some trouble. Anyway, a fella sold me a pen that could only write obscenities. Turns out, with a little coaxing, you could also get it to write its real owner's current address, which was here. I wrote that letter to you before coming to stake out the place. They caught me while I was snooping around. Alright, who is this president woman? I don't know much about her, just that her name's Margaret something. 11 years ago her barn exploded. That's where all the artifacts came from, I think. They were stuff that wasn't the barn at the time. That must have been one heck of an explosion. Yeah, no kidding. 5 years later she's city comptroller, and now I guess she's shadow president? Whatever that is. What's she planning? I wish I knew. She built some kind of crazy machine, but I don't know exactly what it's for. With the amount of shadow energy she's collecting to power it, it can't be anything good. How do we stop her? I mean, We beat her over the head until she stops moving. That generally works. Well, she set up 3 big, weird pylons or obelisks. Aha! I think the function is to pull shadow energy directly out of wherever it comes from and pump it into her machine here in the Black House. So we should destroy those. Yep, ideally before her machine does whatever it's meant to be doing. Destroy 3 things. Good. Somewhere... It's nice to have a specific... I'm pretty sure I've seen all 3 of them before. Not far from here, yeah? Someone in Government Valley past that? I'm not sure. I guess that was all of my questions. Well, all the immediately relevant ones. We better get moving. Right. Vista Hill? I think that was the first one. Oh. Ideally, I would also like to be able to upgrade all of my stats, but I'm probably not... That's probably not going to happen. So anything that is very useful right now. Punt, scary stories, nightmare, yeah. Armor is probably not a bad thing. I mean, it definitely isn't a bad thing. Alright. Hello? Oh, weird. Hey, is that Rain? This is Rufus. Rufus, how did you know I was in? I didn't, it's just a coincidence. My brother hunting device calculated that the best spot to open the wormhole is to his location. Since there's a payphone here, I figured I'd call ahead to check. Wormhole? I thought this was a communications device. Well, it turns out the pearl is crazy powerful, and wormholes are a form of communication according to Quant. There's a crazy shadow pillar thing here. I could use some help dealing with it. I'll explain some of the readings. Hang on, I'll be right there. Oh, so I probably even couldn't even destroy it myself. Oh, okay. Twisted Pylon has been destroyed. 1 down, 2 to go. At least now we know what we're dealing with. Do we? I don't know that we do. PDQ. Was that one? I thought I don't know. Obviously, I'm gonna dephase a... Hello? Rain, Don Toblerone? That's wrong. His name is Toblerone. What can I say? I've become attenuated to the fact that you are a necessity of some assassination. How do you know where I was? You're one of the family now. If you know something, we know something. I sure hope that isn't how it works, but as it happens, I really could use some help here. I will send assistance immediately, and their arrival will be forthwith. Great, thanks. Wait for the cavalry. Shoot it excessively with a lot of guns. Alright, before I deal with the last one, which arguably is probably the hobos now that I think about it, they're sort of the main faction. I'm gonna try and go to the pillar myself, because that was at the telephone facility, I believe. Sure. Well, meet. Hooray. Alright, can I do something myself? Approach it. Shadow missile, gotcha. Right, so I can't. Rain, this is Johnny the Hobo King. My secret Hobo King powers alerted me to that you might be in need. How did you know what number to call? I picked up my phone and connected it to you. Is that not how phones work? Well, anyway, yes, I do need some help. No problem, I'll send the crew of hobos immediately. So, 2 out of 3 solutions for dealing with with pillars was gratuitous amount of violence. 1 with guns and 1 with melee weapons. Alright, that's the last one. Come on, we got to get back to the Black House and put a stop to whatever the President's plan is. Which might be world domination or world destruction. Maybe both. Honestly, with as much as I was able to learn before they caught me, that's a real glaring gap in my knowledge. Righty. Figured that would be something like that, but well... A little fight before we go, yeah. On fire. Most unfortunate. Well, I can use an item to heal. Can I not? Ah, yeah. Splort. And we still got plenty of fire left to give, because using an item does not cost any AP. It only has, it only uses an item, and most items can be used to a point where we're like some of them can only be used once per turn, but still, that's in the grand scheme of things quite a lot of uses. Yes, more fire. 23. Nice. And ye grow stronger. Always nice. Eek. You can't even figure this thing out enough to sabotage it. I don't know. Hit it with a hammer a couple of times. Hit it hard enough. Should be good to go. Might be the end of the universe, but I mean... Alright. You rush into the foyer of the Black House. Murray leads you up a corridor and down a flight of stairs to a huge basement laboratory. The room is dominated by a massive writhing tear in space, seemingly confined to the Umbratanium frame. The president is typing furiously at a computer console nearby, but she turns around momentarily when you enter. She glares at you, practically hissing. I knew I shouldn't have trusted that idiot Bruce to deal with you. I noticed the shadow flow has dropped back to ambient levels. I assumed that was your doing. Yeah, I busted you weird pillars, and now I'm busting you. Oh no, I'd be real upset if you weren't too late. Oh, nuts. Yeah, nuts to you. The portal is open, and after I make these last few calibrations, the Emperor of all Shadows will be summoned to this plane to kneel before me. I will rule this universe not as President of Shadows, but the Empress. Wow, that's a much bigger goal than I was expecting. Yeah, well, go big or go home, right? Anyway, don't try and stop me. Without my attention to this console to keep the reaction steady, this whole thing could implode and turn the whole tri-state into a smoking crater. Well, mind if I have a look around? Sure, whatever. Just don't pester me unless you want everyone you've ever heard of to die. Make some potions? I don't think this is the right time for it. What's that? An Umbratanium bomb. I cobbled it together from parts I found laying around while you were distracting the president. Good job. Oh, no problem. Yeah, that was intentional, but what's your plan exactly? From what she said, it sounded pretty bad to mess with this stuff. She's trying to summon something, right? I figure by applying enough pressure at just the right time, we can reverse the flow and make it an out portal instead of an in portal. Wouldn't that suck us in? Eh. Well, not exactly. So it'll suck her out into space, and no more problem. Well, not exactly. Or well, yes, but that's not the end of it. We also have to take care of whatever's waiting on the other side of the portal. Oh, you're saying I have to go through it and fight it, aren't you? I don't know if it'll be a literal fight or what, but yeah, that's the long and short of it, kiddo. This is the end game. There's no coming back from this. Are you ready? Actually, let me be more explicit. This is literally the end game. Once I set up the bomb and you go through that portal, you can't come back. The game ends one way or another, but nothing gets saved after you go, so you can reload back to here and keep playing afterwards. I don't really understand what you mean by that. That's okay, kiddo. It wasn't really you I was talking to. I'm ready. Let's do it. It was good seeing you again, kiddo. I think I got this bomb wired so I can toss it and set it off from here by overloading this other whoozit, which hopefully won't end up getting me killed. But whatever happens, you gotta jump through right away. I don't know how much time you'll have. Geez, Uncle Murray, I didn't spend all this time looking for you just to lose you again. It might be I'm losing you, kiddo. When you're going, there might not be any coming back. Oh yes, thanks. Yes, that sure helps. Sorry. He gives you a hug and you return it. You ready? Yeah. I was going to look at the things, but... Ooh! I didn't do anything. Resolution! I'm taking my hands off the keyboard. You and Gabby and the president and her machines, as a sizable chunk of the floor, appear in the middle of a pale void lit by the just arrived light of stars that burned out uncountable eons ago. No, what did you do? Throw a little monkey wrench into your plans. Don't try and act cool about this. You don't have the slightest idea what kind of power you're messing with. Oh yeah? Like what? Welcome, playthings. You look over to the right where you see a hovering swarm of giant mouths and eyes. You get the feeling that this is your brain's best attempt to render what you're actually seeing in a way that won't simply annihilate your mind. In particular, that. Oh. Was this whole deal just a giant monkey paw? Like, did I achieve ultimate power, but I also got cursed to be constantly surrounded by morons? Hey! This portal frame still looks intact. Maybe I can reopen it and fix this. Oh, you can get us back. I can get me back, and then continue with my plan to summon the Emperor to our universe under controllable conditions as intended. Yes. What if I don't want you to do that? Do I look like someone who gives a hot crap what you want? Go away. Go die in the void. Sheesh. Somebody's cranky. Ooh. Hello? Be not afraid. Hi. Welcome to my realm. What are you? I am what the shadow is the shadow of. A nice job, if you can get it. It's a living. Yeah. Why would I want to surrender to it? No. Try something desperate? Reason with it? I mean, I am best at intimidating. Listen, Buster, you better ha ha ha. Reason with it? Let's just go. Your words have no power here. Smoother. You seem pretty hip, but ridiculous. Well, you tried. Yeah. Let's pry ourselves away for the moment. There are things we haven't looked at. This technology is incomprehensible to you. You inspect the portal frame, but you can't think of anything to do that would help, which implies that you missed some optional stuff, but that's what replays are for. Ah, nuts. Interrupt our imaginations. Oh. Any chance I could get you to give up on your plan to enslave humanity and the universe in general? Johnson Christ, if I had brought a gun with me in here, you'd be so dead right now. Nice try, but I made my peace with that little mishap years ago. I've got no family, no ties, and I don't care. And now you're all alone. Oh. Try to talk her out of this. Okay. Well, that didn't... Right, well, that seems like... This is a little too weird, huh, Gabby? Gabby is loving it. So new, so different. No goblin is ever seeing this, Gabby bets. Yeah, that's probably true, but... I don't know what I would have missed, but... I mean, honestly, with this kind of game, you can miss a lot of stuff. Alright, well, here goes. You're not sure how they made it here, but you'll take all the help you can get. Molly Buttons. Let's see. So this one has shielded. Bathed in the shadow. Ooh, 48. Ow! That's gonna hurt. What is the mouth gonna do? 27. Okay, so I am... Oh, no. Oh, that's just a robot. Okay. The lowest hit points. Ooh. Immune to bleeding and on fire. Oh, but the president isn't. Okay, let's see. Shadowcaster's Eye. That's probably not a bad idea. Getting some stat decreasing on... Okay, the robot's down. He didn't even get a turn. That's... Alright, that's the shielded gone. And obviously, it didn't heal me. But now comes the item part. So, we gotta do this. Gotta put you on fire. So there's no point in setting these guys on fire. But let's up our party a bit. And then lower the enemies. Alright. I could up my damage. I do want to set more stuff on fire though, and seeing as these guys are immune to it, I'm just going to use my main attack on hitting these guys, because 0 spooky damage. Well, that's currently me, but I'm shielded. So that will at least keep me alive. Gabby is going to die. Unless we do that. You can bleed, can you? Yes, you can. I'd also set you more on fire if I wanted to. This enemy isn't evil enough? Are you... What? I mean, it's 50 holy damage. But that apparently only works on demons. I can use 3 more combat items. Well, I have 3 of these. It's going to lower all their stats. Which means that they will do less damage. Which is very, very useful. And now... So 121, 81, and 81. You're going to start being... Like, you're not doing anything right now. Gabby and Rainbows. I think getting rid of this mouth is not a bad idea. But before we do, gonna slap the shit out of you. Ooh, that's good. Okay. What do we do? On fire for 5? On fire for 5. You know what? I can continuously do that. Oh, that wasn't what I wanted to do, but... Oh, well, 2. Okay, I'll take that. Gabby. Set everything on fire? That will only really work on the president, so... I think just... Healing would be nice, but... We'll tank at least 1 hit. Yeah, I think what makes most sense is just... Okay, reduce muscle by 5. Empowered by the shadow. Ooh, I don't like that. 32 spooky damage. That is quite a lot, isn't it? Shoot 1 random enemy. This is more useful. Yeah, let's lower muscle. Because that... Right. I should have kept myself alive there, but I didn't do that. This is going to be a tricky fight now. I mean, it was always going to be a tricky fight, but now it's even more. Overwhelmed by the shadow. Oh, so I probably just have to actually actually have to survive. No. I guess not. Oh. Well, I don't want credits. I want to win. So I'm gonna skip this. There's gotta be a lot of scenes, isn't there? Yeah. Is there a way to... There's not a way to speed this up. I'll speed it up in the edit then, because... I mean, yes, it is an ending, but it's a stupid ending. And let's be real. Continue. Yeah. Okay, so is there something over here that might be of use? Oh, yep. And that's a workbench, that's the same. Yeah, okay. Right. Let's see if we can't get this to work this time. Well, I'm not gonna waste time talking to... I'm just gonna try and combat. So... Oh, I can't even access my... -1 to all stats. Okay. That might be worth it, because that is still reducing its... Alright. And that heals me. Right, let's start with this. I can't really use the shielding for a lot of things. I wish I could sort of knock them out. Bleeding? It's not... I mean, they are immune to it anyways. "15 hit points. That will get me almost to full, so that is useful. Right. The fire is a great idea, but we need to get our crew on a more potent level. Oh. 33. That's not bad. See, if I do that 3 times... Yes. See, then I can actually use the main attack and just slap it out of the way. Alright. On fire, yes. Start decreasing that hit point. Well, why is the mouth still there? That is... So what are you gonna do? On Gabby, that would kill. And that's also a kill. That isn't great. Set all foes on fire for 4. Yeah, sure. I would really like to be able to use items with NPCs so that it's not just me lugging everything around. Let's see. I mean, this likely won't work, but let's try it. Do I have to go through this again? I really don't want to do that. Sure. So he's not going to do anything. So that's not going to do anything. Okay. So really, this... Yeah, biscuit. Is there a way to skip this? Oh, there is. Good. So you just have to watch it the first time. Alright. I think I'm as up as I can be. We definitely had an idea of what went right and what went wrong. So targeting the president in the fight is basically pointless, because they are not going to do anything. Which means that I can use all of my items and all of my turns on doing literally anything else. Yeah, I mean... Obviously I'm not going to surrender. Okay, we get the first go. Sure, let's do this. Well, that was short-lived. But, I mean, it's my turn now. So first off, shield it on me. So I'll live regardless of almost anything else. Right. Then power up my team. What's left of it. Power down them. Stretch up to make muscle. I could do more attacks, but this will suffice because now 36. Still, that's a good damage coming from that. And if I do that one more turn and then hit it, then that won't get a turn. Okay, that's a start. Yes. Plus, that also gives me a nice boost for any of the other combats, so... yeah, let's do that. I would prefer to hit these eyes, but I reckon that isn't always an option. Let's go for this one. It's minuscule damage, but, I mean, it all counts. That's good damage. And the healing is nice too. Okay, so 2 AP. So me hitting it would not do a lot of damage because it has low muscle. Reduce the shadows I muscle, physicality, and moxie by 4. That's going to be useful for getting this guy lower, so he doesn't deal as much damage. Okay, now you. What can we do? That is basically nothing. I could put shielded on. Well, they're not targeting me, so that's fine. I could stretch, giving myself even more muscle, thus meaning that I can hit even harder. Or I could beef up even more, because the stat increases. Well, they stack. Oh, wow. Well, that would certainly help. Yeah, let's do this. You're not even powerful enough to kill my mosquito. Probably something that I have to, like, kill these guys before the president can die. Maybe? Oh no, the president is still, well, let's see if this... Will this attack twice? Nope. Just once. Well... Your shadows are not a thing right now. Oh, there we go. That's much more like it. Alright. Now we can enjoy the ending. Well, sometimes the best way to deal with the universe-destroying threat is just to hit it with something until it stops moving. Nice work! Am I tying my shoes, despite not wearing shoes? After the metaphorical smoke cleared, you found yourself stuck in the weird extra-dimensional space where the final showdown happened. Unfortunately, the fact that you created a temporal paradox before you left the universe meant that you could never come back to normal reality. You waited 1 billion years, and that was only the beginning. Actually, it's meaningless to say that it was the beginning. The first 1 billion years weren't any different than the next billion. You were still there. You had always had been. The universe ended, and you weren't in it. Murray's bomb blasted him past the borders of reality. He drifted outside the world for a span of time that might have been 5 minutes, or might have been 5,000 years. The only way to be sure is to not press a key for 5,000 years, then you'll know it was that long. A few weeks later, Jessica accidentally activated the failsafe interdimensional homing teleporter Murray had left in one of his desk drawers. She was looking for a pen. Murray was wrenched through the ether and then unceremoniously dumped on the floor of the antique store. They spent a while trying to figure out what happened to you, but didn't have any luck. Being outside of the entirety of time and space makes you pretty hard to track down. Eventually, Murray gave up and started looking for another relative to help him with his future ventures. The Open Mic did a brisk trade until the end of Prohibition, at which point it did an even brisker one. When they started televising underground bare-knuckle boxing, Gabby got really excited and joined the league. Her combat style was a mixture of different martial arts that came to be known as super weird fighting. Molly went on to become the most notorious bank robber of her era. She was last seen somewhere in Bolivia. Simone went on to become the chair of SIT Robotronics Department. Thanks to your tireless crime fighting, the streets of Ocean City have never been safer. King Johnny got the camp loaded into the ocean, with Samuel and Agamemnon doing the most of the heavy lifting. With the wind at their backs, they set sail for distant shores. Where are they? Thanks to Ovid and Croesus, the expedition was comfortable and well funded. Sure, it got boring at times, but Howie entertained folks with his harmonica, and Dusty brought a deck of cards. Whenever somebody got scratched up or seasick, Dog was there to provide them medical attention. The nights were cold, but between Beatrice's wool and Calendula's moonshine, everybody kept pretty cozy. They ate well thanks to Walter's fishing prowess. Cornelius and Beanie provided cornbread and beans. Mossman provided fine herbs and exotic spices. After a long and difficult journey, they arrived at the land they had promised to themselves. They founded a new nation, a nation of hobos, by hobos, for hobos, with liberty and justice for hobos. Marvin went on to set the world record for mailbox saving. He held the record for nearly a week. He has recently become interested in flagpoles. The bishop's inspection went swimmingly, and the vicar of St. Polycarp's was promoted to vice pope. With that whole grisly murder business behind her, Mrs. Brewster went on to win the Boarding House of the Decade award from the International Salesmen's League. Crystal Store was moderately successful, but she was confident that in about 40 years, business would boom. Greta wisely invested all of the meat she spent at her store and eventually expanded into a nationwide chain. Josie Morton went on to discover a new, extremely volatile isotope of hypercrystalline thaumatomorphic diorite. With it, she eventually invented the devastating weapon that brought about the end of the Skeleton Wars. History mostly remembers her for what she said after the weapon's first successful field test: "I am become Death's death destroyer of skeletons." Ha. Your spider students decided to do a little bit of field research in Crystal Dream Valley. It went about as well as you'd expect. Clem and Jarvis Slitch evaded capture by adopting the aliases Jarvis James and Clem Bartles, respectively. After Prohibition ended, they had a long and illustrious career in getting people drunk industry. In 1981, Mudhenge was acquired by the Stonehenge Corporation, renamed Stonehenge Mud, and shut down. In 100 years, you were the only non-nudist to find its center. With your help, Rhonda Rasmussen became the first person in history to fly all the way around the swamp. Her fame lasted until nearly a month later, when Charles Lindbergh was seen buying a new set of shoelaces. Frogger Heim turned Heim Quarry into an ecologically responsible workers' collective, which did quite well. He spent most of his share of the profits on fast car sandwiches and open-minded women. The loss of Tom and Kathy plunged Largemouth Bass and Sons into a secession crisis. In the chaos, the bastard Reboner returned from exile and made his claim to the throne. John and Paul Leathers were convicted of male manslaughter and are preparing to be sent to penal colony on Mars. In the time, the wreck of the Longfellow was swallowed whole by the swamp. Though a boat may be long, naught is longer than nature's mouth. The kid with glasses spent a week bragging after he proved his theory about big hands. The plant kid will happily wear Mossman's mustache for the rest of his life. The chemist kid is still reeling from the whiff of the smell of the wisp that you brought her. The radio kid is still proudly wears the feather you brought him from Barbara Yaga. The kid with the wrench still tells stories about the time you captured the Chupa Naranya. The fry girl is still grateful for the chest hair you brought her from Flimberg. Will Hunter moved into international waters to escape federal prosecution for marble fraud. The Molros Place remained uninhabited until the 1990s, when it became a hotbed for swinging, sexy singles. With no natural predators to thin their numbers, McMillicuddy's sheep bred out of control. He went on to become the region's primary supplier of both mittens and mutton. Despite all your efforts, the Mays stayed pretty much exactly the same forever. Billy made sure of that. The old ham mill never spun again. Rufus emerged from his portal somewhere deep underground. He didn't know where he was, but he knew he was one step closer to his brother, and that was all that mattered. The end. Alright. Some thoughts on the project as a whole. Did I like Shadows over Loathing? Like the very simple question, did I like it? Yes. Was it better than West of Loathing? That's a harder question. West of Loathing had a lot of charm and while it had a few quests that was really, really, really going out of the way to be as convoluted as possible, and knowing this universe, yes, that is exactly what they were going for. But I felt that they've amped up the convolutedness to, I would say, probably the double amount in this. Now, they've also added a lot more content, like this game is a lot more meaty. So this is episode, I think, 44 of Shadows over Loathing, where to West of Loathing got up to 32 or 35. And that, for West of Loathing, is with its DLC. Shadows over Loathing does not have any DLC. Like, it is a bigger, more meaty, pun intended, package. So I felt the story progression in Shadows over Loathing made more sense than in West of Loathing. But at the same time, I feel that the size of the game is also detriment to a more classical style of game, in that you are more likely to miss stuff. And as you saw, I couldn't power up the portal. I haven't looked up what to do for that part because I didn't want to spoil myself. So I have used a walkthrough, I would say sparingly from time to time, and just for the sake of, I'm really stuck now, what do I do, or where do I need to go? And I mean, for the most part, you could figure out the ways to do. There was some things that was definitely like, really? Are you serious? And there was some quest designs that was quite grindy. Like, you didn't have to grind your character. And I think that is an important part of that game. Like, it is, you can grind if you want to, but you do not have to. And I'm sure that the other classes would have a vastly different kind of experience. But I mean, it was, overall, I think it was good. I think it was good. It had the right type of key, and yeah, basically, it was quite nice. I think that it worked out really nicely. Okay, I'm reading up on what I could have done to basically power up the portal. I needed either a Yechian Chrono Crystal, which I don't think I ever saw, or I could have read the Ancient Incantation, which I didn't have, or I could sacrifice yourself for glory, which was not an option given to me because ambition was not one. Like, I chose the big heart skill. And I mean, that is kind of like, there was also a couple of things, like you could have gotten Shadow Taint, which would, like, if you imbibed in shadow items, I think you might have to have been a bean slinger or something like that for that. But basically, I'd also, like, one of them, I had to have a specific side character, a specific companion. But yeah, like, it's the thing is that I think that there is way too much that you can miss. Like, I like the fact that it is an open-ended game, but as you can also see from the various playtimes, it was vastly unbalanced. Like, the fact that you have this entire area that is basically nothing, I think that is a poor choice in how you design the quest. I don't mind the fight with the black house and stuff, all the stuff going into the prison, but I do mind the prison. The prison bit was, other than a chance to give yourself a power up that was really like it wasn't great. Let's be real. It was a fetch quetch, and times a lot. And especially the one where, like, you go back to a place, you realize, oh, you have to go to the place where you just were, but now you've got an item. And, like, the back and forth things. If you watched my Vardenfell playthrough, I was upset because that part of the Elder Scrolls Online did that a lot. And both games had the option to be like, hey, you can just skip over to the head, or you can have a character come to you. Those options. Having to constantly do everything for everyone gives you the entire thing where, like the trope where it's basically like the world has stopped. Period. Days may pass, but nothing happens unless you're involved. And that usually leads to not exactly a feeling of overwhelmment, but definitely a feeling that you are not, like, you are important, but you're too important, if that makes any sense. Like, it's one thing with the whole being the chosen one, but there is also a limit, and that limit is very much reached when you get into points like, hey, could you boil some water for my tea? I mean, sure, I could do it just to be nice, but there was a lot of unnecessary fluff, and I felt that Grey County, like, especially the swamp, took a lot of time to do, because almost as soon as you entered, you got not one, not two, but actually 3 rather debilitating perks that meant that you were weaker in combat. And that was a combat-heavy zone. So despite it not taking that long, like 4 hours, or almost 5 hours, like compared to Grey County, where I also admittedly bundled around a bunch and like got to all the other places to check if there was side quest. Most of these 12 hours, that's side questing. I think the Grey County itself, probably not more than 3 hours. So that tells you something about the amount of side questing that you have to do. And the fact that some of the side quests, like a lot of the side quests, felt unimportant. Like, they felt like, oh, you got a nice reward, maybe some meat for that, but that was that. Like, the fact that you don't know what could be important for down the line, especially when you have an ending that is so very dependent upon you looking in every nook and cranny and talking to every NPCs, that's not great. That leaves a feeling of awe, and for the sake of, like, the feeling of, so when I was done with West of Loathing, I sat with the feeling of, wow, that was fun. Now I want actually to try the story out with another class for the sake of seeing what is different. Maybe choose a different companion, maybe go a different route with the things where I have a choice. I don't have that feeling here. I feel like the replayability of West of Loathing, not just because it was a shorter game, but because it felt more concise to what it wanted to be, is better than the replayability of Shadows over Loathing. I don't really want to replay Shadows over Loathing at the moment. I might have that feeling in a week from now, which obviously by the time this is edited and out there on YouTube, it's gonna be a while from now. For the record, it is currently the 6th of October. So Monday, the 6th of October, 2025. And this is going to be out in, I want to say, around April, March of 2026. So, and I might feel like, at that point, I might actually feel like playing this again. But at the moment, I feel like I'm not exactly sort of relief that I'm done with it, because I had fun playing it. But I don't feel a need to play the different versions and for the sake of like getting other achievements or getting other parts of the game, because unlike West of Loathing, where your class, and because of the game's length, this is mostly based on the length and how meaty the game is. Because West of Loathing was that much shorter, your class options had more of an impact. Like, there were more parts where you branched out and did things differently because you were a different class. Where to here, there wasn't a lot of choices that really was like, oh, you're this class, well, now you can do this. Like, I think we had literally through the almost the entire plus 30 hours, we had 2 options that involved the class. That doesn't feel great. That makes it feel like your class really doesn't matter. And that means that your want to replay it is at a very low point. This is not, I mean, this is a critique, yes, but it's also a, like, what not to do. Like, it is very much a positive critique in how you take it. Yes, it might sound overly critical right now, but as I'm also stating, and have stated, I had fun. I didn't dislike the game, I just don't want to replay it at the moment, and not for a while actually. So there are definitely things that West of Loathing did better. Do I think that this game would have been better had it been shorter? No, I don't think that is the case. I think the length was actually, for the most part, pretty good. There was some things that definitely was a bit more of a grind and a bit more of a, oh, this is going to take a while to get through. But I think for the sake of getting this involved, getting this amount of story through, and I think the story in itself, like the story part of the game, was like, what, 10, 12 hours? And you could probably go through it like that with speedruns. But this game is built on humor. It's built on, haha, this thing is funny in this setting. And I mean that's why I picked it up, because I had fun with the humor in the first one, and arguably also partly in Kingdom Over Loathing, but Kingdom Over Loathing is a bit different kind of ball. But since I had fun with the humor, very, very much enjoying the humor, I felt, okay, this is the spiritual successor to West of Loathing. This is going to be fun as well. And it was. The humor was great. And I've been reading H.P. Lovecraft and Edgar Allan Poe literature because I wanted to get into that sort of literature genre, like the cosmic horror and sort of gothic horror. Because I very much started this at around Halloween as well. So I was in the mood for spookums and stuff like that. And yeah, it hit that tone pretty well. I would say that there's definitely the cosmic part of the horror, like the H.P. Lovecraft stuff, was less than I expected. There was some wacky stuff and definitely some, whoa, what's going on here? But for the most part, I mean, it could have been just a fantasy, but that was Kingdom of Loathing, so, you know, I don't think that it actually hit a lot of the, oh, this is H.P. Lovecraft-esque. And I think that's actually a shame, because the setting is interesting. The humor was on point, but I think the genre went pretty much all over the place. You also had a few things that was like, you do realize this setting is 1929. Which means that someone standing by a computer, even though they have robot trictronics and stuff like that, like, it is still very much and very visually apparent to be steampunk, diesel punk-esque stuff. And then you got started with computers, and this is not like you had the alien race that was also present west of Loathing, so it's not like it's locked to its period. There are definitely outliers because it's also sort of Weird West and like stuff like that kind of vibe that goes into it. But I felt like they did not hit the time bubble nearly as well as they did with the West of Loathing. So, would I recommend Shadows over Loathing? Yes, but be prepared to put in some hours, and a lot more hours than West of Loathing. If you felt that West of Loathing was a little on the short side, you're probably gonna feel like Shadows over Loathing are a bit on the long side. Anyways, I will just end up repeating myself even more than I already have done. But yes, this was Shadows over Loathing. So, until next time, whenever game that might be, take care.